Hello, welcome to Three Hamster Boys YouTube channel. I'm Jeff, and we are in the middle of the maybe 40-day challenge. Today is day 25. Wow, we really do moving along. And we have a special guest. We have Alexander. He was here with one of the other earlier ones around Easter. So since he's in town, I thought I would ask him some questions and see if I can increase my interviewer skills a little bit with him. So we're going to ask some questions, and one of the things that is amazing is the explosion of the esports industry and what all is going on in it. I can remember back when he was in 8th grade, he wrote a report about esports, and at that time, which was only 6-8 years ago, it was really just a beginning industry. And now he's getting his degree in esports, he's casting for esports. It's really a global phenomenon right now. And so I thought I would just ask some questions about esports to kind of, some of the people that watch us are probably closer to my age, so esports is really kind of a weird thing to think of. So Alexander, I guess we'll start with the first thing. How would you define esports?
Yeah, so esports is essentially the ecosystem of competitive video gaming and what that looks like. So that is the tournament scene around that, as well as the broadcast production side of things, and that kind of all-encompassing ecosystem that makes up esports. So that's players, fans, producers, companies, as well as broadcast production, event management. That all falls under the esports realm of things, because there's a lot more that goes into it when people talk about esports, where people just mainly think about, oh, person plays video game, they could win money. There's so much more to that than a lot of people kind of realize.
One of the things that we did a few years ago is we went to Smite, which is a game world championship, and it was quite an event. It was in an arena. They had cosplay competitions. There was an exhibitor hall. They had a room where there was gaming going on, so people could play on like the really big screens. There were sellers there, great food trucks outside. It was really quite an event that's built up. And Smite's what I would consider a smaller scene when it comes to esports. And so it was remarkable for me to see at my age, because 40 years ago there weren't even PCs out. It was something that you dreamt about, you wanted to do, and so I think that's pretty incredible. So which esports do you do at Shenandoah University?
So at Shenandoah University, there are several varsity teams, which are like the highest level that we compete at and we stream. So for SU, that is Rocket League, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that is League of Legends, Overwatch, and Valorant. So those are the main 5 games that we have.
Yeah, I think the odd one for me is you also play Madden.
Yep.
And Madden is really not a team sport. It's a one person versus one person, and it goes through that. So it is a competitive scene, but it's really 1v1. Usually Smash. If you think of Smash, it's usually 1v1, but these are team competitions. And as we were watching this, as I'm watching it, I think that the one thing that we were talking about is that Smash, although it's a really popular game, is not really supported by Nintendo at all.
Yeah, so that does kind of come into a lot of how much a game is supported by its creators. So if you look at something like a League of Legends, Riot Gaming spends like millions of dollars for their esports scene. If you ever watch like a League of Legends World Championship, that is crazy, because Riot is so invested in it that they really want to make it a spectacle, and they do every time. A lot of games, particularly the fighting game community, are sort of on their own. That's where you get the term like grassroots for a lot of these fighting games, where the publishers don't really support it. They don't really want to have too much of a hand in the actual scene. Nintendo, of course, is famous for this, or infamous, I guess, in the fact that they have tried to take Smash out of big competitions. kind of get it out of the competitive scene. They're not really a fan of that. Sakurai has said, the creator of Smash has said that it's definitely meant to be more of a party game, and so they're not super supportive of the competitive scene. There is some inklings of change for that. As we have seen Nintendo and Panda Global, one of the bigger organizations in the Smash scene, teaming up for a Smash World Tour, so a bigger sort of a Smash event, an esport event. But for the most part, yeah, Nintendo is not very supportive of the Smash community, particularly when you look at the older game, Smash Melee, which still has a competitive scene around it. I mean, Nintendo's not selling Melee copies right now, so I don't think they have an interest in trying to market it or trying to get the word out about, yeah. So if they are, they're just focusing on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but again, not much help from the producer.
Yeah, so as we've been watching this, I mean, I think there are some categories of games that I can see. So we talked about Smash not really being supported, but really kind of a fun game to watch. There's two people, they play a team, kind of competitive team game of it, where you're 5-on-5. I think that one of the things that I like is we were watching a game called Rocket League, which was one of the first ones you started casting.
Yep.
And that is a really simple game. For those that don't know it, it's basically 3 cars versus 3 cars, and you're playing soccer. And you're in an enclosed soccer field, and you're hitting the ball. But it's kind of remarkable what you can do and how you can do it and the things you need to do. But it's a game that's easy to watch and to understand.
Yeah, I mean, Rocket League is definitely one of those entry esports where people, if they come from traditional sports, they understand the rules of soccer and how soccer functions, essentially. And so Rocket League is basically like car soccer, where these cars can drive really fast, they hit the ball, the goal is to get it into the net, right? Into that goal. So it's really easy to understand, and there isn't a whole lot of terminology. If you go really deep into Rocket League, of course there are specific terminologies like wave landing or musky flicks, things like that. But at the end of the day, the base terminology is super easy for the consumer, like the average fan, to understand, versus if you look at something like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where you've got fairs, you've got nairs, you have wave dashing, wave landing, shielding, parries, things like that. Like, there's so much information and kind of a base knowledge that you need in order to understand what people are talking about, that it's more difficult for people to get into the scene.
Yeah, I think that the first time I saw a Smash caster, the two guys were talking, and they were talking all in jargon.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it and you're going, if I'm new to this, I wouldn't understand what was going on. Along those lines, I think that the next 3 sports that you were talking about, Valorant, Overwatch, and League of Legends, and Smite was this way too, where you had to understand how to build characters, how to capture things, and the map and the way you played the game helped you build these characters a certain way.
Right.
From that standpoint, the terminology is much more complex.
Yeah, so we'll take a second and kind of separate these out a little bit, in the fact that we'll take a look at League of Legends and Smite, which are classified as MOBAs, or a multiplayer online battle arena. And this is really where you get a massive pool of characters. I think League of Legends has somewhere around 156 characters right now. Smite has 120 characters right now. There are so many characters to choose from, each having their own names, abilities, and certain builds, basically items that you want to attach to that character, that you get gold or money throughout the course of the game, and you create different builds. That's when it gets really, really complicated, and the micro of the game is so important. And that's where you see a lot of the games are longer. League of Legends can an hour plus for some of these games, same with Smite. So those games become a lot longer, and they're definitely less friendly to newcomers in the scene, because if you don't know what you're watching, it's really hard to understand. You don't know what mystical mail is or why this character needs to buy it, right?
Why am I making a phoenix?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are they attacking the phoenix? Why is that weird bull thing attacking them? Why are they attacking the harpies in the jungle? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
There's so many little things about the games that are very complex. And then you look at games like Overwatch and Valorant, which of course are a bit different, but Overwatch is a character shooter, so your characters have abilities, but there aren't 150 of them. There's like 24.
There's also clearer objectives.
Right. Yeah.
Right, because you're trying to move a truck somewhere, or you're trying to capture a point or whatever. Yep. So it's kind of the step in between.
Right.
The characters are still complex. If you watch it, you're going to be like, the first time you watch it, you're going to be like, I don't know what these guys are doing, and why is this guy turning into a rolling ball? You know?
Yeah.
So it's one of those crazy things. I think that one of the ones we didn't talk about was Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And also Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Call of Duty is another one that we have a varsity team for. I'm so sorry for the Call of Duty boys, but yeah. It's another one that we do at SU.
And so Call of Duty and Counter-Strike are really fundamentally shooters. And the build is just getting better weapons.
Yeah, I will say though, when it comes to like Call of Duty and CSGO, they are both shooters, but they're in vastly different categories of the game. Call of Duty focuses a lot on speed, and you have the guns that you need at the start of the game. Like, you create builds before you get into the game, so you have those guns that you know that you want to use. And typically for like the competitive scene of Call of Duty, there are like 3 guns that are viable that the pros use.
And the matches are really short.
They're really, really fast because it's all about sliding, jumping, kind of getting those quick shots, making sure that you're accurate. And a fun fact, most of the Call of Duty, in fact, all of the Call of Duty Pro scene is played on controllers. So all of our players play on controllers as well. When you look on the other side for CSGO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and Valorant fits into this category as well, where they're tactical shooters, the games are much slower. In order to be accurate, your character needs to be not moving. Because if you're trying to move and shoot, you become vastly more inaccurate. So these games are a lot longer, and if you die, you're dead for that round. Call of Duty, a lot of the rounds you respawn.
Right. So yeah, it's like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
There's so much.
There's so much. I mean, I think that it's been really interesting for us because he's been casting for the last 2 years now at Shenandoah, and so. I'm not a big competitive esports watcher. I'm not getting on Twitch to watch this usually.
Yeah.
I probably didn't get on Twitch at all before this time. But so in case you're wondering, Twitch is a streaming service, like I guess like Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is probably the closest thing.
Closest thing, but it's really a remarkable thing to see because I think that I think almost all games coming out are looking for that scene. They're looking for that connection to players. And there's actually professional leagues now, which we talked about a little bit, but a lot of these places have professional teams. So you can be, like we were talking about, the Justice is the Overwatch team in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
That's a professional esports team, just like any other sports. And they have casters, which are just broadcasters that do it. There's hometown broadcasters. There can be game-wide broadcasters. So just like in what I would consider traditional sports, there's 2 levels of broadcasting. There's on the league level and then on the hometown level. So it really is really mimicking or duplicating what's been done or been considered traditional sports, and it's building every day. You just see more and more audience, more and more money being put into it, bigger sponsors. It's just a competitive scene. And we were talking about this earlier, Microsoft just bought Activision. And so that...
Or they're going to
they're
be
going
buying
Activision.
Probably.
Probably, yeah. And so there's a lot of moving pieces in this to kind of get a piece of the pie of what this future esports money is going to be like. So,
I mean, you say that, but Microsoft already has their hands in the esport world with Halo and 343 Industries, just that massive scene. Of course, Halo is really sitting on that nostalgia factor, but the tournaments that they've been creating recently are massive and draw huge crowds.
Yeah. All right, so I know this is kind of a different topic. We got a guest here, but I thought it was, as I watch, I just think it's something interesting and something that I may want to pursue in later video series. So thanks for watching. Alexander, thanks for being part of this.
Thanks for having me.
Once again, if you want to follow me on my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's at the number 3 Hamster Boys. If you like this video, press the like button. And if you'd like to see more of the videos, hit the subscribe button. And so thank you once again, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.